the audit approach in particular has always been perceived as being a very linear approach. You start at the beginning, you work through the steps, and you get to the end. And out at the end, you sign the piece of paper and off you go. And I think that the approach is becoming far more agile in terms of the need to actually think about, well, what should those outputs be? What is the client ultimately looking for from us as their advisors? Is it just a signed piece of paper, but actually, are they looking for more from their advisors? And I think that a process needs to become far more iterative and fluid during the year, for example, rather than coming and just taking, okay, right, here's the numbers, let's move from there. I think we need to be more flexible. What do you think on that particular area?
Completely. I'm so glad you brought up Agile. That I think, I mentioned looking at other areas, and IT really is one of those areas that has been operating differently. And when we think about Agile, that probably came up. I'm trying to remember when it came up. I was going to say late. The concept of it probably came up in the late 90s, but it was probably starting to be applied as we went into the turn of the century. So the Agile methodology and the way to look at this iterative change as it's starting to come through really is a mature framework for how should I approach things. And I would actually draw the analogy of, as we're trying to produce software, which is a product in the end, you apply the Agile methodology to get to that endpoint software. We could do the same thing with an audit opinion. The audit opinion is the product here in the end. All of these things, as we're doing planning, field work, and going towards that product, it's not, like you said, it's not this linear thing that's happening. We're doing risk assessment, we're doing planning, we do some testing. I'm not going to call it field work because we might just be doing analytics or doing a flux analysis or something that helps reinform our assessment of risk, which is going to lead towards different planning. Or maybe we find something as part of field work that says, whoa, wait a minute, there's more risk in this area. Now I have to go back and relook at things. And the Agile framework for looking at things incrementally and iteratively really helps drive towards that end product. So actually, I'm so glad again that you brought up Agile, because I think that's a key concept that needs to be adopted by the profession. And it's also tied to this, hey, we can't do things the serial and sequential and checklist focused approach that we have in the past.